Hey, Dad.
Hey, what?
Did you know Anchor distributes our podcast to Spotify and Apple Podcasts free of charge?
No way. Did you also know Anchor has everything you need to make a podcast, including tools and tips on how to grow your audience and fan base?
Yes! Anchor is the best way to start and grow your podcast for absolutely free. Make sure to check out Anchor and download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Goodbye!
Hi.
Yes, sir. They just grow up so fast, don't they? Not fast enough. Gregory will now be talking to you years from now. Look back on this. Gregory, you the man. I imagine that it'll get to the point where they don't want me to say that. So, anyway, look at you. You're so handsome.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of The Roads Less Traveled. I am the dastardly Declan Parker Rhodes, and that is the Gregory Rhodes. Gregory Rhodes. I can't even say the word right. That was great. You did wonderful. Yes, hello, welcome back to another episode. Fun little thing we forgot to talk about actually last time. The last episode that we just released of The Roads Less Traveled was our 10th episode. We did 10 episodes. Wow. Also, in conjunction with that, we turned 1 year old on June 21st. Can you believe that?
No. Wow.
I know, right? A year ago, this was a year plus ago. This was just like a conceived idea, and now it's something in reality that's set in stone. Yeah. Okay. It's super exciting. That's awesome. Yeah. So before we get into our main kind of topic today, how you doing today?
I'm good.
Good? Yeah. How you been this past week?
Good, okay, considering.
Yeah.
I was tired and sore from chemo and surgery, but
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, you had chemo and then...
On Monday, and then I had pain pump surgery on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So I got a nice little scar over here on my belly. It's sore, tender.
Yeah. Well, we're wishing you speedy recovery.
Thanks.
Of course, yeah. So I guess we can go ahead and get started into our main topic. So picking up right where we left off last time, we had just finished you spending a year in Connecticut. Yes, as a nanny, as an au pair. As a male nanny. So we had talked about you moving in with the Thompsons, your celebrity run-in stories somewhat. So yeah, you ended up staying a year. And I guess, so yeah, what happened next?
I just, they actually sold their estate. They sold their house, and so they were going to be moving from Wilton, Connecticut to New Canaan. Would be equivalent to moving from Ozark to Springfield, bigger town. Yeah, New Canaan, Connecticut, and we did that, or they did that, and
did they upsize?
No, actually, they downsized because we went from a 10,000 square foot estate to I think 4 or 5 bedroom house.
Yeah.
I mean, it was still nice by all means.
Yeah. I'm sure.
But it wasn't no.
Did you still have your own kind of like separate building?
Yeah.
Thing? Okay,
yeah.
Well, that's nice. That's good. Yeah. So, did you help in that process, or were they just paid movers to?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't touch anything.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
No, we didn't. Touch anything.
Okay, so you move into this new house. Would you know about how, I guess, old the kids are? I mean, just 1 year older. So
because their birthdays were in November. Well, John's was November. Well, shame on me. Julio was. Yeah, I think her birthday was November too. Man, that's terrible. I remember John's. but yeah, so they were just a year old when I started with them. They were 9, 11.
Right.
So now they were 10 and 12.
10 and 12.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess from what you can remember, just kind of taking us through, what did nannying look like at this new place?
It was a lot less. It was a lot less nannying because now you were in the thick of the school.
Okay,
You're back into the spring semester, so where it was endless days of summer.
Yeah.
It was now back to school Monday through Friday. Evening activities included, their different extracurricular activities, whether it be baseball practice, whether it be cotillion, whether it be dance practice, whatever. Well, you had that, but just I guess you could say a lot less contact with the kids.
Yeah.
More contact with the parents in a sense.
Yeah. That's nice. So were they both in cotillion classes?
John was, Julia wasn't.
Okay. I'm interested, being, a young black man come from the Midwest. Was this like the first time you had heard of cotillion classes?
Absolutely, Declan.
I imagine so. What are you kind of thinking in terms of like, I don't know, just not making generalizations. Just I imagine in your head you're like, okay, so this white family, they're rich, they're very nice, they're polite, and they also got classes on how to be polite, how to dance, how to dress, what salad fork to use, which spoon. Like, did you? I'm assuming you probably didn't like stay for the cotillion classes. Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to, but
yeah. Why was that? Just to see what it was like.
Yeah. To see what's proper etiquette.
Yeah.
Is like. I mean, I heard tons of stories. Well, not tons of stories, but I just heard about it. And so I was very interested, thought I was going to get to do it, but 21-year-old young man was not going to sit in a cotillion class in Connecticut. It just wasn't going to happen, no matter who the family was.
Yeah.
But I asked tons of questions when I go pick him up and stuff, and of course you could imagine to a 10-year-old young man wasn't excited about it.
Probably not. Yeah.
So he was not excited about all my questions.
Yeah.
So it was a reverse role, whereas the kid or the adolescent usually asking the adult 50 questions.
Yeah.
What is it? Why? It was the reverse, the 21-year-old asking the 10-year-old, and that didn't fly very well.
Yeah. Do you remember? So we had these cotillion classes. I really honestly, I don't know if No, I think I do know a couple people who have like actually been in classes like that. But I do know I see a lot on the media, like characters or whatever,
right,
in cotillion classes. It's usually some kind of plot device, whatever. Was there some kind of like dance thing where they like show off their manners, or?
Yeah, they would have events.
Yeah.
They would have dinners, where the table was properly set. The biggest thing that I took from it was the table setting and which fork or spoon or how you were supposed to eat with it, when you were supposed to use that utensil. That was the biggest thing. And the letter writing, or any correspondence that John would get at the home, it would be Master John. It wouldn't be John Thompson.
Oh my gosh.
It would be Master John Thompson.
Oh my gosh. The privilege.
So those are the two biggest things, Declan, that I actually have taken from that training, that time he had. It was that I have kept with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just how you address the male child or the female child, or and then what utensils to use in a proper order.
Yeah.
I don't know why those two things stuck with me. So.
No, I mean it definitely is interesting for sure. I will say, I think taking a step back, just also understanding from an outside point of view that whatever is deemed proper or normal would be from I would say most of the masses, and also especially these kinds of classes, would be like rich, white, elite people.
Oh yeah.
So no, yeah, that is interesting. Probably just a culture kind of shock too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Like nothing like that was happening, or at least that you knew of around St. Louis.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Seriously, no. No, sir.
Yeah. So, okay, so you're now in. The kids are in school. So do you have more? You said you have more free time hanging out with the parents and whatnot. Well, I guess what did that look like? Anything specific or significant jump out?
No, just talking experiences. You know, they took me to meet people. So that's like when I met Mr. Trump. I met Jeffrey Holders, different people. I went to one or two of their startup companies that they had that they were doing
In Connecticut?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, in Norwalk, Connecticut. That was another town that his company was in.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it was nice just hanging out. Somewhat boring because I just wasn't used. Again, I wasn't used to that lifestyle. I wasn't used to sitting in semi-board meetings. So.
Yeah. And were they still? I guess also we didn't really jump into this. Were they paying you like a flat rate, like a stipend, or okay?
Yeah.
Do you remember how often you would get that, or was it just
For 4 days, $600.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, and then anything if I babysat on top, which I told them they didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, yeah. Would you say, I guess at this point, this is probably some of the best money you're making?
oh, absolutely, definitely, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah. So since this is kind of some of the best money you're making, do you think that, I don't know, knowing you I've said this before, just have been very strong-willed and I feel like pretty level-headed. Making this much money, or just more money I should say, was that kind of a learning curve in terms of knowing how to save, or what I guess was
no, not really, because Mama Berryman, Mrs. Berryman, really set me up for success. 4 or 5 years prior to that experience, when I first met their family and was helping her out with her catering business, and she set me up with a savings account. Open a savings account, and so she really set me up for success. So it wasn't a big deal when I was making this money. I was just chucking it in a savings account, checking account, and saving it for when I'd wake up and this all be over.
Yeah. So you're working and making good money. Are we still kind of at this point where because I know we kind of touched on this in the last episode, are we still at this point where we're not really like dating, looking for love, or like anything like that? Just really just wasn't on your focus?
No,
point?
sir, absolutely not. Farthest from it.
Yeah. Looking back, do you think there's any kind of specific reason for that, or are you just a personal choice at that point?
No, I guess. Well, I don't guess. I mean, it was just I made some promises to myself as I matured and as I got older, as I saw things at home and how things were in my environment and what my family and were doing.
Yeah.
And so one of those big things, I don't even know if we ever covered this, but I guess I'll throw it out there now. One of the big things were, because I didn't know my dad, I said the woman that I would lay with or be married, I would marry, and my kids would know their dad. And so I wasn't interested in starting that chapter in my life.
Yeah.
At that time, I was 21, and
Yeah.
not that I was living a life of luxury with women or anything by far.
Yeah.
No, it just wasn't on my radar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which obviously that's very responsible, and that 100% okay. And, I think it's interesting because so many people, I feel like my age, especially coming from a small town of Ozark, Missouri, I feel like I can see them fall into this trap of settling and thinking that, oh, we're together, let's have kids, when that is the furthest thing from what you should be doing. When y'all can barely take care of yourselves, should not be taking care of other human beings. I think it just fascinates me because it's also this insane idea that kids will magically fix whatever problems are going on in your life, whether that be personal or the relationship together. It's just I don't understand. And I guess thank you to mom and dad for just, I don't know, instilling that. I don't know. I like to think I'm kind of mature on some front for my age, just in terms of knowing shit like that. Like I no, I don't. I 100. I get you. I feel. So, okay. So we're back in the fall. We're in school, swing of things. What does this next kind of chapter look like?
Pretty much winding down. The talk was I going to stay in Connecticut or was I going to go back to Missouri?
So you had done the year thing through the program.
Yeah.
So had they reached out to you and been like, are you doing this again? Or what did that look like?
Yeah. And like I said, they had little gatherings periodically, like quarterly, the Care for Kids out of Row 8 in Connecticut. Again, just to touch base with the nannies and to see, was there any situations or anything that they needed to address, because they even though they worked for the families, they also represented you.
Yeah.
And so that, and just everybody wanted to know, was the Thompson boy staying?
Mm-hmm.
And that was not a derogatory. I've just put that in there. The Thompson boy.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so
they weren't calling you Thompson boy.
Yeah. No, I had pretty much decided I was going to come back to Missouri because again, it was nice, it was awesome, it was a godsend, it was a blessing, it was a miracle. But you talk about 18 years, 19, 20 years of Newberry Terrace where I grew up, and that mentality that was still stuck in my head and in my foundation, my being, yeah. And so so I came back to Missouri.
Was there ever a point that crossed your mind of continuing school in Connecticut if they were gonna, if the Thompsons were gonna pay for it?
Yeah. And
which school did you look at, or do you? Or
I didn't. They gave me a list of schools to look at, and
gotcha.
And it was just like, man, I'm not smart enough to be in those schools, and they were like, not in a arrogant way, not in a laissez-faire way, but they said that it's not what you know, it's who you know. If you want in these schools, they pretty much,
for sure.
Now I hadn't filled out application one, not one application, but they pretty much guaranteed me if you wanted to go to that school that's on this list that we have found for you, it's not what you know, it's who you know you will be in that school.
Yeah.
And I felt, now I'm retracting in myself because I felt, man, I don't want to waste these people money. There's no way I'm going to succeed in that school from what I know or what I think I know. And it was all what I thought I knew.
Yeah. So kind of like you had already given up on yourself before even giving yourself a shot.
Yes, sir. That's exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really hard. And I think that, no, I mean, speaking with you and learning your upbringing and what that looked like, the mentality is there. I understand why you felt that way, why you thought that way. Yeah. So you ultimately made the decision not to return. Do you remember, I guess, what those last few weeks or days looked like at the Thompson estate?
It was a lot of what ifs for me because again, I mean, this it wasn't a huge decision, Declan, but it was a big decision, and it was mine alone to make.
Yeah.
There was no pressure from the Thompsons. There darn sure wasn't any pressure from back home. Said, oh yeah, you need to come back here. This is your place. But that mentality, and I'm not using it as an excuse. It's just it is what it is, and I'm glad that we did not raise you kids like that. That you were raised at what the sky's the limit. Whatever you can conceive, you can achieve.
Yeah.
And by to your listeners out there, Declan, this is not a pitter pat party. I don't want somebody feeling sorry for me now or think this is the low in the story, or it is what it is.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of what ifs, a lot of dreaming, but the decision was to come back to Missouri and continue at Missouri State, however that looked, whatever that looked like. And the Thompsons made sure that I knew, though, that, I was, when I left Connecticut, that wasn't the last that I was going to see or hear.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah.
That's a good, not only in terms of networking, but just relationship building in general. That's sweet that they extended that olive branch. And I was just about to ask if they had been like, you can come back, please. Okay, so you left, and obviously we're still pre-computer technological advancement, really. So when you came back, did you keep in touch with them, really? Were there calls or letters? Or?
There were calls, and believe it or not, initiated by them.
Oh,
yeah. There was calls, no letters. I think the kids and I said we were going to write, but that didn't happen. And I mean, they got busy. But there were calls around holidays or birthdays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that was, And that was strong for a good couple of years, if not more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were at the first estate with the Thompsons for 1 full year, and then
it was a little less than a year. We left at January of that 92. We left January of 93.
Okay.
They moved. They sold their house in
January 93, and then you left Connecticut
in 93.
Okay.
Yeah. Later on. Yeah.
So you come back to Missouri or SMS in the fall.
Yes.
Okay. And so the classes you're coming back into, had the other class that you came in already graduated at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is another coming into new people. Correct. Who are close knit. I guess, how did this feel round 2?
Round 2, as you say, I felt a little more confident, and so I was a little more outgoing, I guess, in a sense, but still, I just didn't feel like I belonged. I just feel like I just didn't belong.
Yeah. Okay. So, walk us through kind of, I guess, what this semester coming back at SMS looks like.
Mr. Thompson was in contact with my advisor, actually my academic advisor at Missouri State, to find out, what classes I need to take to graduate. To internship, was there a possibility that my internship could be back in Connecticut at one of his companies that he had, because one of his companies he had a geriatric company that or catered or took care of geriatrics, like high-end nursing homes. And so he, as I was telling him throughout the year I was there, what is TR? What is a TR major, therapeutic recreation? What does it consist of? Whatever. He said, that sounds like, you could work at one of the agencies that we have. And so Mr. Thompson and Mr. Thompson from Missouri State was my advisor. His name was Mr.
Funny.
Thompson. Yeah. That correspondence was going on. And I was going to class. I was doing what I was supposed to do, but it was like I was out of my body experience, out of body experience. It was just like I just wasn't there, Declan.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
Yeah.
Was I having remorse or second thoughts of staying in Connecticut? No, but it's just like Connecticut. It was came, done that, and it passed.
A chapter.
Yes, sir. Very good. Yes, and so it was no regrets. I'm not having second thoughts about that. But I was not there. I was there, but I was there physically, but I was not there mentally.
Yeah.
That fall semester, that's spring semester of '94 now. Yeah, it was. I was not there mentally.
Yeah.
Not checked out yet, but almost.
Yeah.
Checked out.
So I guess like just kind of swirling through the thoughts in your head, like, is there a part of you now that's like, okay, maybe therapeutic recreation is not what I want to do, or like, is there any doubts with that, or just, I guess, what are you thinking?
No, just because I had that's a good question, and I hope I'm not in denial now, some 40 years later. But no, TR was, our therapeutic recreation was it was the base.
Yeah.
Because I had worked at those handicap camps, for 4 summers.
Yeah.
And all the experience and all I did there and all I learned, that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be working with special needs children with an emphasis in geriatrics, older adults. So yeah, that was still there. That drive, if you can call it a drive or desire, was still there. But again, your listeners might say, well, if the drive was there, how was you checked out? I was just about checked out. Yeah. But yeah, the TR was never questioned whether I wanted to do it or not.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess I just wanted to be graduated and done, move on, get on with my life. Because now those questions that you asked me earlier in the segment, about relationships, family, whatever, those were starting to creep in about around that age of 22, 23. Mm-hmm. Those were, because again, now I'm looking at classmates that I had that were graduating now, that were starting their lives, their professional lives. And here I was, still 22 and really didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel when I was going to graduate, when I was going to actually get that sheepskin. Yeah. So, but yeah, those questions and thoughts start coming into play, and it was a perfect storm forming for me.
Do you think it's fair to say that you felt just behind in general?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So what was this perfect storm leading to?
The perfect storm was leading to, okay, I'm back. I've had the Connecticut experience. I'm going home around holidays, and I'm talking with my mom and family, brothers and sisters and cousins, and telling them my experiences. Everybody's, whatever, no, or it was not a jealousy feeling, but it was a feeling of, whatever, okay, you experienced that, great, but we'll never experience that, so why you even talk about it to us?
So are you sure it wasn't, you wouldn't say it wasn't jealousy at all? I could just from that statement alone, it sounds like a jealousy, resentment. I don't know.
I didn't see it as that, but so that perfect storm was forming because I was needing something from my family that they were not capable of giving me, and what the thoughts of, again, 22, 23 now, start, career wise or private life, social life, whatever, and then needing this thing from my family. It swirled into the perfect storm, and it was swirled into a cannonball that was going to hit me hard the spring of '94.
Yeah. What was it that your family just wasn't able to give you?
Love.
Yeah.
Love. I needed love and acceptance. I needed, like, hey, Gregory, you are doing a damn good job. You are, no matter what statistics are saying where you should be right now, or what you came from and what you grew up with, what we put you through, no matter what, you have managed to not get arrested, be arrested. You don't sell drugs. You're not robbing people. You're not out killing people. You're not out being a gangster or a gangbanger. You're not doing any of that. You are in school. You have maintained. You have went to work in Connecticut for this rich white family who is paying for your schooling and who love you, and you did all this great things, and so I needed that. The Thompsons did that while I was there. Like, yeah, you got a lot to be proud of yourself for. And I believe that, and I did, but I needed that from my family, to hear that from my family. And I know that's, to some of your listeners might be like, what? Are you serious, Greg? I didn't know that about you, but I needed that acceptance and that love and that family just telling me those. Thank you, very good. I needed that. And I didn't get it. I got just the opposite. And so I tell you, Declan, I've never really, I've never talked about it, but yeah, so we're looking at spring of '94 at Missouri State, and I hit hard, rock bottom, forced depression. It was bad. Had I not experienced that semester or that depression, who's to say where I'd be today? Mm-hmm. And you go, well, now you're looking at me like you're probably thinking, Dad, what do you mean? What are you saying? Who's to say? Because I mean that knocked me down, and I was down for a while. Even though I got back up and took care of business, so to speak, I was knocked down.
Yeah. Was there, obviously family was a no, and there was just no one at school you felt comfortable sharing this with or talking to, or?
Good questions you have. It was a young man, my best man in my wedding, my best friend ever, James Dennis, I confided in.
Yeah.
And James Dennis was the perfect calm to my storm.
Yeah.
And James Dennis brought me back from the brink. That's I'll just put it like that. He brought me back from the brink. Now I was getting those confirmations, like you said, and accolades. I was getting them from the Berrymans, when I visit them or I talk to them. I was getting it from them, but the human psyche, it was just like I was not getting it from my family. And I look back now at 50, I do look back and like, what the hell, Gregory? Why did you knew you weren't going to get that from your family. You was getting it from the Thompsons. You was getting it from the Berrymans, a black family, successful black family who you could touch and see and talk to and laugh with, and they were giving it to you. Why did you need it from your family? And since you didn't get it from them, why did you crash? Why did you hit rock bottom depression? And at 50, I say, I don't know, but it happened. Mm-hmm. But I was getting the affirmations and the accolades and the confirmations from the Berrymans telling me, hey, you are not going to be a statistic. If anything, you're going to be a positive statistic in this picture. And so I was getting it, but it was not moving the needle back to the center of normalcy for me, does that make sense?
Yeah. And I mean, in terms of understanding why, I guess you kept going back and expecting something different, I think that, I mean, and you can find that in any kind of abusive relationship, in terms of, I mean, not to get so dark, but women that are abused and hit by their partners it's become cyclic in terms of hoping that there will be an inkling of love, and then okay, I can hold on to that. See, he loves me. Oh, he hits me, but no, like I have that to hold on to. So, I mean, yeah, I don't think you should blame yourself or kick yourself down or anything, and understand that it's also just I think a biological thing in terms of this blood that you are connected to. You would think would have some kind of positive reciprocation,
right? Oh, and I don't beat myself up about it, but I just say I even at 50, I look back and go, why in the hell did you hit rock bottom? Because they weren't doing what you needed. I mean, you knew they weren't capable of that. It was no longer whether they wanted to or not. They weren't capable of that because it's just a chain. It's just it's just how that person was raised, how that person was groomed. They weren't. My family was not. My nucleus family was not raised or did not know how to show love to one another because they had never been showed love to.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so that was another reason and promise when I started a family or when I got married, you know, my kids would know what love is and unconditional love, you know, and they would know what affirmation and confirmations are, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why we did that. We wanted to break that cycle. That's the word I want to use. It's a cycle. You know, not at 50. I knew back then. I just didn't want to face it. But yeah, my family was not capable of giving me what I needed. When I said I needed that love, that the confirmations, the accolades, the attaboys,
yeah.
They were not capable. They were never capable of giving me that.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, if they would, the things I was doing, they would have. Look at the Berrymans. The Berrymans gave it to me. I was nothing to the Berrymans. I was not blood to them. They just picked this young little boy up and start working with him, mentoring him. That their whole family.
Yeah.
So my family, my blood family, my nucleus, they were not capable of that. And unfortunately, at the time that I was going through that, needing that, I was not capable, I guess, of seeing that they were not capable of ever giving me that. Because at the age of 50 today, they're still not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you remember, I guess in that lowest point for you, that spring of 94, like what was that looking like for you? Was it just being very isolated? I mean, you were very sociable in terms of, I guess, being kind of more outgoing, but was that just restricted, or I guess how did that look? Were you not going to classes? What was that?
It looks like all that. Mm-hmm. It looked like all that, even to the point where I was talking with a counselor from school, and this didn't happen overnight. This was months of working in my head and everything. And so it was decided by that counselor that I needed some intervention. So I did go in the hospital, something that you guys never knew.
You went,
Yeah, because I like I said, I was in bad shape. Mentally, I was in bad shape.
Yeah.
I was in bad shape.
Yeah. I guess what brought it to then believing you needed to be in the hospital? Was there like a defining thing, or just?
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, it was. I went back to, for the longest, I wanted to know who my father was, and I had been asking my mom, and I asked her at some not opportune times. And well, what do you mean by that? Well, when I probably shouldn't have been asking her, that shouldn't have been the topic, because the atmosphere was not conducive to her to tell me.
Yeah.
Let alone, but one of those times were, and then I heard it a few times after it, but one of those times I asked her, and I guess she felt like she was pushed in the corner by me. Keep asking her about this, like, who's my father? Who's my dad? You know, that she said, you weren't supposed to be born.
Yeah.
And so with that, that was in the forefront spring semester 94. So the attitude was like, well, I wasn't supposed to be born. Well, I wasn't supposed to be here. Well, maybe I should check out. And so that's why it was determined by my counselor at Missouri State that I was seeing that you need more professional intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever attempt to, or cross your mind, take your own life?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we're talking about days you would think about it. That's all I would think about. I mean, that's just not good. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I would think days, weeks. Every time I came to group sessions, that's all I was be thinking about or talking about, and that's just not a good place to be for anybody to be. Depending on what got them there, that's just not a good place for people to be.
Yeah.
But I hung on, I guess. I hung on.
Did you ever attempt anything?
Well, the thoughts were more the thoughts were my main downfall, I guess. Attempts, no. The thoughts were turning into what I'm looking for. The thoughts were turning into plans, and so that's when I even, I guess, said to myself, yeah, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah. So did you check yourself into the hospital?
The first time I did. Yeah.
Okay. How long were you there for?
3 days. Three or 4 days.
Yeah. Did they do a psych evaluation?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about that, or just was it kind of a fever dream, like not really, just dazed?
Yeah, just just dazed. Like, man, how did I get here? I mean, a year ago I was in freaking Connecticut, dude. I was driving around in a limousine. I was hanging out with awesome kids and an awesome family. I'd met David Letterman. I'd met Jeffrey Holders. I mean, it was just like, what the hell? How did I get here? I mean, seriously. I mean, that just doesn't happen in a normal life. That's like a movie. That's literally, seriously. That's like a movie line story. The young man or the young lady, she has this whirlwind experience with a relationship or whatever, and then she has this one-sided relationship, and she's at rock bottom. I mean, that was a movie. I'm like, how did I get here? I remember distinctively asking myself that, like, what the hell? How did I get here? But I couldn't get myself out of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. I was asking myself that, like, dude, man, I was just driving a year ago. I was driving around in a Q45, an Infiniti Q45, a Beamer, dude. How am I here? How am I at a hospital in a ward where I'm locked down 24/7? Yeah. What is going on? And so, yeah.
Do you remember meeting anyone there, or?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Anything people pop out?
I'll just say that, and not to try to be coy or anything. It's obviously people with more degrees than I do and smarter than me feel it's a necessity, or it's a healing. The group therapies, you have to be very careful with those, because group therapy, people can feed off each other. Because I'm telling you what, I learned I learned a lot more about suicide and harming yourself from the group sessions than I could ever come up with on my own.
Yeah.
And that was a frenzy. So that was a frenzy. It's like, whoa, I didn't think of that. And whoa, and and so for me, I don't think the group sessions were good. The one-on-ones with me and my counselor was beneficial and helpful and proved to be productive, but the group therapies, they weren't. It was just not. It was not a good remedy for me, or not a good mode of helping.
Yeah. So you were there for 3 days, and you said that was the first time you checked in. So I guess what happened in between that and then the second time you checked yourself in?
Because what I was getting from people and friends that had either found out I was there or that I had told them I was there, they were like, "You don't need to be there, Gregory. You're Greg Rhodes. You're Mr. Upbeat, Mr. Positive. You see the glass of milk half full each time, no matter what. You bounce back. All this stuff. Look what you have came from your family. Look what you're in college. Look, and start listening to those people, and those people's like, you don't need to be here. You need to. You're okay. You just hit a little rough patch, and so what did I do? Again, learning just from the group sessions too. I talked to talk, made it seem like, hey, I was okay. I was good. I had a little rough patch these 3 days. Okay, I needed that. I'm good to go now. Let's go. I'm ready to go. I need to be out of here. And I didn't.
Do you think it's interesting too that you say that was the general reaction from people? One, just because looking at that now, if one of my friends had ended up in a mental hospital, which has happened many times, that wouldn't be the first thing I would say. And that's obviously just because, the discussion around mental health in general has increased tenfold since even this story. 20-fold. So that's interesting that was the reaction, but also for the time period we're in right now, that doesn't surprise me. So you're walking the walk, talking the talk, and then what happens the second time you?
I got out. So I got out at the end of 3 days. I was out, free, but I was, with the exception of a call or a visit from James, I was at my lowest.
Do you remember James saying anything to you that stuck in your head, or just? Yeah,
matter of fact, he was not brandish or selfish or arrogant with it, but he was just like, I understand you got to work through some things, but he was like, you're not killing yourself. You're not going to hurt yourself because you're going to be my best man in my wedding, and so you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that to yourself. You're not going to do that to me.
Would you say that might have been obviously one of the first times someone said that to you, but just like one of the first times someone else was like, I need you in my life?
Yeah.
And how did that feel?
It felt reassuring. It felt, again, the Thompsons, the Berrymans, and then here it is, James Dennis, this good old boy from Mount Vernon, Missouri. Mountain Grove, Missouri. Sorry about that, James. From Mountain Grove, Missouri. That was counting on me for something. To be a huge part of a big day for him.
Yeah.
But I think he knew and I knew that it was still a storm coming for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me feel good, and that quite possibly was the underlying deal that kept me alive, I guess, because I wasn't gonna do that to him.
Yeah. Had you lost any friends to suicide?
In high school, I did.
Yeah. So you check in the second time, and then
Second time, they pretty much put a 96-hour hold, whatever they do.
Yeah.
And I was in for a month then.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow. So this is during the summer?
Yeah. It was it was during the spring, near the ending of springs. I went in April and came out in June. I got out the day OJ ran.
Oh wow.
That's
oh
how I
my
remember.
god. Okay.
Yeah. That Friday, June 14th, I believe it was, when OJ was running. I got out. I was discharged from the Marion Center.
Had you been keeping up with it while inside, or
No, you
just-
didn't know anything.
So you
I
come
didn't know
out
anything.
and OJ's running.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wow. The world can change. So now you're out. It's June. What does the rest of the summer look like?
James didn't just throw this life preserver out there and say, hey, you can kill yourself because you're gonna be my best man and let me go. He didn't do that. Because he knew what love was. He had a family and they loved him. He loved them and they did that. And so he didn't smother me. He gave me space, but he was there for me. I mean, he could have probably been home in Mountain Grove, Missouri more than he would have been that summer of '94, but he was up in Springfield making sure I was okay.
Yeah. Had he graduated from Warrensburg?
He would graduate the next year.
Okay.
He would graduate the spring of '95.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But
he stayed up and he not eventually, but he started taking me back home and I met his family. Started meeting his family, his nucleus and his extended family, and they just took me in like you wouldn't believe. Like again, it was like a movie because it was like, are you serious? This inner city black boy down in Mountain Grove, Missouri, with cows, country folk, and conservative, but they I don't know what he said to them, but I never to date I've never once went to Mountain Grove and visit his family and his extended family and not felt welcome or accepted. Never.
That's good.
Never. But you say to you rationalize like, how in the hell can these people from Mountain Grove, Missouri like me, acknowledge me, mentor me, raise me up, and they're not even my damn family. And my family from St. Louis, who is my blood, who has raised me up, they can't tell me I love you and I'm proud of you. But this white family who don't know me from Adam, I could be a thug, but they are laying out the red carpet for me. Yeah. So, but it was good because it went up from there.
Do you think at this point that you, I don't know, had realized that family was not necessarily something you're born with? You can choose. I don't know. Like when did that switch? I guess
that's a famous statement or a famous thing people say. Family, yeah. When did that switch? The switch happened middle ways that summer of '94. That I was calling back home, talking to them, and I was getting the same old bullshit. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but I was
it's our podcast. We can say what we want.
And I never forget getting off that conversation, getting off that phone with my mom, and literally going to the wall and flick the switch up or down. Up is on, down is off, and I flipped the switch down, and I never had any more contact with my family summer of 94, July of 94 till summer of 96 again. Yeah. Now, I was talking to the Thompsons, I was talking to the Berrymans, and while I was in the hospital, Mr. Thompson flew out here and saw me too.
Oh.
Again, that's it. Yeah. Came
That's
out.
awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, so I went to the wall and flipped that switch in July of 94 with the discontinued contact with my family, because it was not healthy. It was not healthy. It was not going to be healthy. It was never going to be healthy. And so at that time, I had to make the conscious decision and conscious choice that, well, I can hang on and hope and wish, and maybe they're going to eventually come around and be that family that they're going to give me what I need. Or I got to say, no, you know what? This is you. It's time for you to make your own story, write your own story. And that's what I did. And yeah, I say the summer of 96, it was unofficially, because when I met Christy in 95, your mom, on graduation night that James graduated from college, I met your mom. She didn't get introduced to my family till the summer of 96. So yeah. And even then, once contact returned, or it was very limited. It was very critiqued. Yeah. Never again would I let them take anything from me emotionally or mentally. And to date, at the age of 50, my family, I made the choice that they would never take anything from me emotionally or mentally. They would never do anything to me. That I would never allow them to hurt me emotionally or mentally or verbally again.
What do you think you would say to 22, 23-year-old Gregory, who's in the hospital on last leg of holding on?
I'd say, I'd just be a matter of fact. Your family is incapable of loving you, and really, it's not their fault. This is not an excuse. This is not an excuse for them. This is not a get out jail for them. It's just that they are not capable. You have to understand, or you don't have to understand, but listen to me, 20-year-old, 22-year-old Gregory. They are not capable of giving you what you need right now in your life, that what you really need. They are not capable because they have never been showed that or given that. So it's a cycle that nobody has that void in their lives has never been filled. And so since it's never been filled, they don't know how to give it out. So it's really not their fault. With that, you got to man up. Bootstraps up, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And you know what? It's time for you to write your story. To write, what does the Gregory Charles Rhodes story look like that's coming off the Rhodes family? I know it seems bleak. I know it seems hard. I know it seems tough. I know it seems lonely. It seems lonely. Even when you're in a room of tons of people who love you, who care about you, and who acknowledge you, you feel the loneliest there just because of your family. You have to slowly let that go, because now these people who do care about you, who love you, it's sincere, it's genuine, and you're not used to it. See, just like your family, you're not used to it, but it's okay. It's okay to let them in. It's okay for them, even though they don't look like you, even though they don't talk like you, even though they don't, nothing is similar to you by these people who is taking you in. But it's okay. It's okay. And they're going to teach you, not like a teacher and a student, but they're going to teach you the way they interact with you is how you're going to interact with your wife someday and your kids someday. You're not going to act like your family did back here. So it's okay. But in those times that I know you feel the loneliest, when you're in a crowded room with people who care about you and who is giving you accolades, when the Berrymans give you accolades, these people care about you, and they're going to show you what it is to be loved and what it means to love someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would tell that 22-year-old, 23-year-old Gregory Rhodes, 22-year-old Gregory Rhodes.
Yeah. I think perfectly well said. What is something you're looking forward to this week, or something you enjoyed this week?
Well, this past week, chemo and surgery didn't enjoy, but chemo is chemo. Surgery put in a new pain pump, so that's good. That's a good thing, and it went. The surgery went well, so I'm excited. I'm happy about that. Looking forward to our church starts Sunday. Our Vacation Bible School kicks off our day camp Vacation Bible School with Eagle Lakes out of Colorado is on location at our church, and me, Christy, McKenna, and Aiden, we're all helping out. We're being on the staff and just looking for a great week and hoping the rain doesn't wash us out.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is it supposed to rain a lot?
Yeah, it's supposed to rain starting today. It's supposed to rain through to like next Friday, hit and miss. But at the accumulation at the end of the week, we're supposed to get like 5 inches of rain. So,
dang.
But it's showing it on Thursday night and yesterday, Friday. Looking at the weather, it showed rain on each day.
Yeah. Okay.
So
good luck with that.
Yeah.
Gosh. Something I am excited about. I just got hired as a host at Cheddar's, so that's exciting.
Yes.
That's fun.
The best place to eat in Springfield, Missouri.
Yes, I will. I'll never forget going
Best
there
food.
as a kid constantly. So yeah, I'm excited to start working again and making money. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in to this more kind of serious, solemn, deep episode of The Roads Less Traveled. Just a reminder, you can follow us on Facebook at The Roads, RHODES, Less Traveled, traveled with one L, or we're on Instagram at the_roads_less_traveled_. We're posting there. You can find us on those socials. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We hope you have a wonderful day and be kind to one another. Love you. Bye.
Later.